Hello, in this video session, I am going to showcase to you how to replicate the data from the ATP database to GoldenGate, which is hosted in the on-premise, to the ADW database, which is hosted in the OCI environment. And in this demo, we are going to use the hub architecture of the GoldenGate. This is an end-to-end video demo session, which will not only include how to replicate the data into the GoldenGate from ATP database to this ADW database, which is hosted in the OCI, but it also include all of the artifact which has been used within the OCI to perform this demo and their provisioning, which includes like provisioning of the GoldenGate from the marketplace as well as the OCI GoldenGate provisioning, how to provision the ATP databases and some other component of the GoldenGate such as how to create connection, how to create a checkpoint, how to do the certificate exchange from the client to server, and how to encrypt the profile. This encrypt profile will be done through this OCI encrypted key, and that can be also encrypt through the customer managed key from the OCI vault. So this encryption has been done through this vault and the encryption key. One important part for the monitoring, as in the GoldenGate, all the data has been stored into the trail file, and this is a encrypted message which we are going to use for the encryption profile. So this encryption profile will encrypt the data while moving the data from the source to target, but in the trail file, it's in the encrypt format. So for the operational perspective, in the GG data monitoring part, we will also see how to decrypt those data to in the readable format. So that will be helpful during the operation time, and that can be achievable through this log dump utility. There are specific command which will help to decrypt the data from the trail file. And as in this demo session, we are going to replicate the data from ATP database to ADW database. So while this transformation happen, the data from the source to target, it will be all encrypted. It's not the readable format. So I just wanted to circle you first the diagram, how it looks like. So here we have on-premise data center where we have ATP database and the GoldenGate deployed. So this GoldenGate is deployed from the marketplace instead of the on-premise. I mean, still using the OCI infrastructure, but the GoldenGate deployment will go through this marketplace as the same. It is same as when you deploy the GoldenGate in on-premise. So this will send the data over SSL through this reverse engine proxy engines, and that will replicate the data on the OCI cloud infrastructure through this OCI GoldenGate, and it will replicate the data into the ADW. So this OCI GoldenGate is Oracle managed service. So here we can see here, this is all the services which is being managed by Oracle. So you can go to this link and go through what are the shared responsibility and few responsibilities on the client side. Otherwise, most of them are from the Oracle. So this is like out of box OCI managed GoldenGate, which has been used in the OCI. Now in the subsequent showcase you how we have achieved this complete a business case, which will replicate the data from on-premise, let's say from the marketplace GoldenGate to the target OCI managed GoldenGate. In this part, we will create the compartment for our GoldenGate demo. Click on create compartment, provide the name and the description, which is mandatory while creating the compartment. This will let you to create the compartment. Now within the compartment, we will create the VCN. We will create two VCNs, source and target. So let's create the first VCN. Make sure you're in a good compartment where you wanted to create the VCN, and then click on the create. This will take a couple of seconds in order to create that VCN in your selected compartment. Now we will create a second VCN. After creating this VCN, we will provision the GoldenGate marketplace, which is nothing but a GoldenGate cloud service and provision through the marketplace. This is the same installation what we do in our on-premise GoldenGate installation. This is just done by the marketplace here. So search for the GoldenGate. Provide the basic detail, their name and all. Here we will select the source VCN which we have created just before that, and accordingly the compartment will show up. And for the subnet again, we will select the same source VCN, select the availability domain, and just for the simple namesake, I'm using the same name as the display name into the deployment. Here also one important part, we need to have our SSH public key, which I have already created, and the private key of that correspondent public key I have in my laptop. So this will help us to create and connect to this GoldenGate instance. This will take couple of minutes. I have just forwarded this time. After creating this marketplace, we will create the OCI GoldenGate. So first, just see how this looks like. So it will contain the public key and the private key, and this is in the running condition. So now next we will create the OCI GoldenGate, which is Oracle managed service. For provisioning, we need to go to the Oracle database and then select the GoldenGate and then select the deployment. Click on the create deployment, provide the name, description, and select the compartment. This we will create in our target VCN and their subnet. So we will create a public endpoint for access, easy access. Here the technology are three. For the big data, like we have different source and target like OCI streaming and object storage. For MySQL, it's a different vendor and the open source component. Provide the instance name and give the login name and the password. We will go and make changes into the public subnet of our marketplace GoldenGate in order to access that. So in the instance, we will go to the public subnet and we will secure the connection. So it will be not open for everyone. It will be open for the specific IP address. So you can do it through this default security list, delete all, and here I will add my personal laptop IP address in order to access securely. So it would be not accessible by any other way or other sources. Now next, we will connect to this GoldenGate cloud service because the login access detail is available into the instance, inside the instance. So we will connect through SSH command into the terminal. So once we open this OGG credentials, which is already created during the provisioning through the marketplace. So here we can see our login detail. So now we will open this marketplace GoldenGate. So this can be open, and this is a self-signed certificate. So we need to enter into our web browser, and it will give some warning message. So accept and go ahead. It will not harm anything. Just it will access our GoldenGate. So in the login, we will use the same credentials detail which we have received on the instance after connecting through the terminal. So in this, you can see we have 4 different services which is running: administrative service, distribution, performance, and receiver. The deployment is this, which we have given the name. Service manager is at one individual deployment. So for most of our task will be done through this administration. So we'll click on the administration and then we go ahead. Use the same credentials detail which we have received on the instance. After logging to the marketplace GoldenGate, we will log into the OCI GoldenGate. So we'll launch the console and it will take to the login page of the GoldenGate. We will use the same credentials which we have used by creating the OCI GoldenGate instance. In this part, we will see how to provision the ATP databases. So first we will create the source ATP database here by providing the name and some basic detail. Select transaction processing for ATP database and then provide the admin password and click on create. So this will let you to provision the ATP database on your OCI infrastructure. So it will take some time and then it will provision. Once the provision is done, what we will do, first we will download the wallet of the DB connection. By this, it need to be have password protected. After downloading this wallet, we will log into the database with the admin password by clicking here. This is a feasibility which we can use from OCI to log into database on the web browser. So as first thing first, we will unlock the GG admin user, which is by default locked into the ATP database. So we need to unlock and provide the password for the GG admin. So GG admin user is nothing but the basic user for all GG GoldenGate activity. Once it's done, then we need to make available this GoldenGate database pluggable by using this command. So this will allow to perform the GoldenGate activity and to catch the redo log file while we do extract from this database. Now we will create the autonomous data warehouse ADW database. So for doing this, we will select the data warehouse and provide the same detail as we have provided before for ATP database, like admin password, and then just click on the create. So this will let you to provision the ADW database on the OCI infrastructure. We'll do the same activity for this. We download the wallet by giving the password, and once it's done, we will log in to database action to the admin user and unlock the GG admin user. For this, we not need to make this database to be pluggable active, because this is a target database that we need only for the extract operation of GoldenGate. In this part, we will use the GoldenGate connection feature to connect our source and target database. So at first, we will connect our source database connection. Make sure you are in a compartment where the OCI GoldenGate instance was installed. Provide the name, select the type, which will be autonomous database, and then it will auto-populate the database which has been installed in this compartment. So this time we will select source, and the password would be the same for the ggAdmin which we have created while provisioning and unlocking the ggAdmin user for the ATP database. So once this connection is done, we need to assign it to the deployment. It will take a while to create the connection. Now the connection is ready. Now we need to assign this connection to the deployment. Even though this is a source database, I will assign it to the target GoldenGate instance to get the user string. That I will explain it later. So it will populate the GoldenGate, assign the deployment. So this assignment will be done in a couple of seconds. Once this is done, we will create a connection for the target ADW database. We'll provide the name, compartment is ggdemo, and then the type will be again OCI autonomous database. It will populate the database, and this time we will select the target database. And the same ggAdmin password we need to provide while unlocking the ADW database for the ggAdmin schema, and then create next. Once this is done, we need to assign the same connection, this new connection to the GoldenGate, OCI GoldenGate this time again. Once we assign this deployment, we can see the connection string in the OCI GoldenGate instance. So assign the deployment into the target GoldenGate. Now let's jump to the OCI GoldenGate. Here in the configuration database, we can see the connection string for the source. The target will also come. It should come. Let's check. It's still assigning. So once it's done, we can see the target DB connection string again into our target GoldenGate. Now this is done, so we can go to this target GoldenGate and refresh, and then we must see this connection string here. So now what we will do, as this is a target GoldenGate, we need this source DB connection in our source GoldenGate. So I will copy this connection string here, and then this will help us to create a connection into the source connection in the source GoldenGate. Now we need to move the wallet file of the source ATP database. So here I am using the FileZilla to transfer the file from my local system to the OCI GoldenGate instance, GoldenGate cloud service instance. There is multiple way based on your availability. You can use any other tool as well. So here I will create a site and then provide the basic detail. So this is my source GoldenGate IP address. This I will give here. Hostname, login type will be key file. The user will be OPC. If you remember, while provisioning the GoldenGate cloud service through the marketplace, a default user was given while provisioning the GoldenGate, that was OPC. So the same we will use. We can see the same OPC user in this instance detail here. So this OPC detail we will use. And in the key file, we'll use the private key. This is the corresponding private key of the public key, which we have used while provisioning our source GoldenGate cloud service. So the same private key I will provide her, and hopefully it will connect. So let's see. It's connected now. So once the connection is done, what I'm going to do, I am going to create one directory into the target instance through terminal. And in this directory, I will copy this wallet of source DB here. So now and make a note of this path, and that this path I will make a change into this PDW in our source string file for my wallet location. Here, this is a source string. So in my wallet directory, I will change the path. So this is our GG admin of the source database. So this is our source GoldenGate. So we will go to the administration, and administration, then configuration, and create credentials. We'll provide domain name, alias name, and the username will be the string, the connection string which we have just made after updating the my wallet directory. The password is the same for the GG admin for source database GG admin schema. Let's submit. Once this, we can see the connection string here. So we will check if the connection is working. We will try to connect. If this is done, it will be a blue tick mark. Yeah. So this is done now. Now we will make ready for the source and target database here. So this is one SQL script is created. The link is given below. So you can use the same SQL script. So here what I am going to do, I am going to create a source schema, their table and the constraint in the source DB, and the same for the target. So first we will create a source schema here. The next part is I will create a source table. All the detail has been given in the script. So here we will use this script for creating the table. So now I will copy the constraint for this table. And there is another constraint which we will copy from there. So now my source database is ready. So I will just search my source schema here, and the corresponding table will be shown. Now same I will perform for my target database ADW. So this time I will create all at once, the schema, the table, and the constraint, just to save a bit of time. So now just to make sure if my schema have all the required privileges, just try to insert one data in the source database in the city table. In this part, we will see how to add a tran data in the source GoldenGate instance on the source user ID. So here we need to provide the source database schema name, which we can copy from here. Tran data is nothing but which GoldenGate need to get the transaction information from the source database. So just provide the schema name here and submit. Then we can search the same schema name tran data here. So tran data is now added successfully. One data available here for and this is corresponding to the number of tables available in that schema. Now we will add a checkpoint table on the target GoldenGate instance. So checkpoint table is nothing but it needed by the GoldenGate to see the read position in the trail file for the recovery process. So here we need to provide a new checkpoint table name. General practice is based on the table name we provide the name, and this is how this checkpoint table is available. Now if we check in the target database, now we can see there is a two additional. In this part we will create a net user on the target GoldenGate instance. So provide the name and the operator will be the role, the password. We will not use a certificate, we will use the password as of now, and then provide the password. So this net user will help in order to connect the source GoldenGate to this target GoldenGate instance. So the user will be available in our target GoldenGate. So this is complete new user creation. So you can provide your own choice of password and then submit. So next part is once it's done, we can see this is available here. Now we'll go to the source GoldenGate and then into the configuration, and then we create a new credential. So in the credential, we'll click on this plus button and provide the domain and alias name. The user ID will be the same what we have given just before, the net user. That will be the ggnet. So this will help this source GoldenGate to connect to the target GoldenGate, and this we will use in the distribution server while we are configuring the abstract in the source GoldenGate. So user ID should be the same what we have given before, and the password should be the same which was given just before. So now we are done with ggnet part. We will see the certificate exchange between the target GoldenGate to the source GoldenGate. So first I'm logging to the target GoldenGate in order to download the certificate. So I'm using the Mac and Firefox. So this is the way to download the certificate. There is a different way when you are download the certificate from the different browser. So to download the certificate, we need to click on this PEM link, and that will download the certificate. This downloaded certificate, which is in OCI GoldenGate, is a self-signed certificate. So we can see now this GoldenGate certificate here in my download folder. Yeah, here it is. So now we will upload this certificate to the source GoldenGate. So we need to log into the service manager, because in the marketplace GoldenGate provisioning, we can use the service manager, and that has the capability to manage the certificate. So we need to go to the deployment and then add a CS certificate here and then upload the file. Whereas in the OCI, we have a cloud managed certificate. So we need to click the upload and upload the file. So in the file location, you could see shared. So this will allow this file to be shared between the different deployment. Otherwise, it will be the local to this deployment only. So now the certificate exchange has been done. We can see the certificate here. In this part, we will see how to create a key for our encryption profile. So we are going to create a key within the vault in OCI. So first we create a vault, and after creating the vault, we will create a key inside this vault. So we will use the default option here and create the vault. It will take me a second or maybe a minute while creating this vault. we will create a key inside this vault. Now it is done. So now what we are going to do, we are going to use the create key option here. That will let us to create a key. Here we are going to use the Oracle managed key. So we will use the software mode and provide the name and AES. For encryption profile, we use the AES algorithm. Of course, we can always import the client key. And while we are doing the import of the client key, that will be encrypted with this wrapping key provided through this vault through the Oracle to provide the additional layer of the security. So we'll create the key. So the same key will be referred while we are creating the encryption profile in the source and target GoldenGate for the encryption purpose and for the decryption purpose. In this part, we will see how to create an encryption profile for the GoldenGate. So before creating the encryption profile, we need some basic information of the user so that we can download from here. So this information might be already available by the admin team, or either you can ask to them and either you can create also. So we can create a new API key by clicking then add API key. We need to download this private key and the public key both, which we need for the future reference. Make a copy of it into your specific folder. Once we make a copy of that, then we can click on the add. Then it will showcase the configuration file detail, the metadata about the user. That also we need to make a separate copy that we need further. The next part after that, we need to take a few metadata information from the vault and the key. That would be cryptographic endpoint URL, vault OCI ID and the key OCI ID. That copy we will make. That all we need while we are creating the encryption profile. So first we will create the encryption profile in the source GoldenGate. In the KMS, we click on the plus sign to create a new profile. We will provide the profile name and the description, and we will change this fourth row encryption profile type to OCI. Here in the API key, we need to provide the private key of the user API, which we have downloaded just right before. So here we have an encryption profile on the source GoldenGate, and that we can test if that connection is successful. Now same action we will perform for our target GoldenGate, where again we will use the same key information to create an encryption profile here. And both encryption profile on the source, it will help to encrypt the data, and on the target, it will help to decrypt the data while getting the data from the thread file. Provide the same private key of the API, user API key. So now the target encryption profile is done. We can test if that connection is successful or not. So this is done for the encryption profile. In this part, we will see how to do the abstract on the source GoldenGate. So we click on the abstract. Now we'll provide the process name and the description. After that, we need to provide this trail name. That trail name can be anything with 2 letters. And then we leave the value as it is. We select the source DB credential which we have created, and we'll add the encryption profile. So here it's auto selected. Now we need to add one text here before the trail file, and that is encrypt trail, and add this particular string to extract the data from that schema and the table. So we will first click on the create. So it will create this abstract. Once that is done, we will go to action and click on the start. So this is how we do the abstract. In this part, we will show how to create a distribution path. So we need to click on this distribution service and then click on the plus sign, provide the path name and the description. After that, we will enable a proxy also here, as this is a business requirement for this demo. And then we choose the source. So source is city abstract, and the corresponding trail file will be auto populate. So target host name will be our target GoldenGate. So here how we will copy the host name. We'll provide a trail name for the distribution path, and then we provide the deployment name of our target GoldenGate. And now the domain, this is the interesting part. This will we provide the network user which we have configured in our source GoldenGate. So we will give the corresponding domain and alias name instead of the direct username which we have configured in the source GoldenGate. So this is a GoldenGate network user of our target. So we'll give this name in order to make a successful connection with the target GoldenGate. Rest we will keep as it is. We will not make any change. So click on the create path, and it will create the path, and then we will activate. So one part is here. Once it's done, we see on the target in the receiver end there is nothing as of now, because this distribution path is getting created, not activated even right now. Now we will start. Once this start is done, we can see the on the target GoldenGate on the receiver path, we can see this link already available. So this is how the GoldenGate distribution path is done on the source GoldenGate. In this part, we will do the replicate on the target GoldenGate. So click on this plus sign. Here we will do non-integrated replication. Provide the process name. Give the credentials domain and alias. Alias will take some time to process the request. Now we'll provide the trail name, which will be the C2 from the distribution service, and select the checkpoint table. And then select the encryption profile and click on next. Here we will give decrypt profile one keyword before mapping, and change the mapping also. So this decrypt profile will take key from the encryption profile from this target GoldenGate, and we'll change the mapping, which will take the data, which will make us sure take the data from the source table city and transform the data into the source city table on the target schema. So here it will not create, and after creation we will run. So now the replication is done on the target GoldenGate. This part we will do the monitoring of our transition from source to target database. So we click on the performance matrix here and select on the city abstraction, and then click on the database statistics. So it will capture any activity which is happening on the database. So same we will do for the target GoldenGate. Click on this and then click on database statistic. So here you see this pink line, which will capture any activity if happened into the database. As of now, we see the value 0, no insert. And this is same for the target GoldenGate. We can see no activity. So now we will check the data in the both database on the source and target. So first we will check in the source database, how many data is already available in the table. This is a target. We check first in the source first. One data is there which was inserted just some time before for checking purpose, and the one row in the target database. So now we find out in both places we have one. Now we will insert 11 row into the source database. So here we must see some spike. So you see the spike, it means data has been processed here, and we can see the value 11, and the same kind of spike we can see in the source GoldenGate. The value is 11, which showcase data has been transformed from source to target. And we'll check in the target database also. So here is the data. So this part we will see the log dump tool of the GoldenGate, which is used to see the data from the trail file. So here is the report of abstract from the source GoldenGate, where we can see the trail file is encrypted, the same kind of the entry in the report file we can see into the target GoldenGate report for the replicate, and which is here, which says input trail file was encrypted. So now what we will do, we will do the side-by-side comparison. One we do with the log dump file without any additional command, where we can see in the trail file we cannot see the data, and on the right hand side we will use the command which will allow us to show the data in the trail file. So on the left terminal we will open the log dump tool and then see how the data looks into the trail file. Now we go to the trail file, which is U02 and the trails. We'll open this trail file with open command and click type N on next. So it will open the content from the trail file. So we can see on the right hand side all data is encrypted. We cannot see anything. As the data is encrypted in the output trail. Now on the right terminal, we will open the long term command one more time with a additional command. First open this, and then we will use a decrypt on command, which will allow the trail file with some readable format data. So once we do the next, here data is there. We just need to expand the terminal. I can see the city. Here, yes. Now we'll just expand this terminal and then we can see the data in the readable format. So we can see some column is called city somehow there, which we have inserted into our SQL. Second is Dallas. So if we open our SQL, so we can see this is a Dallas which is in the encrypt file we can see, but on the left terminal we cannot see this data. Yeah. So if I click N, then next is something San Francisco, some keyword. So we can see when we do this encrypt on, then we can see the data here in the trail file. So this is the log dump tool, which only have this privilege to see the data from the trail file with this particular command. So log dump tool can be used by many operational activity and very useful or powerful tool within the GoldenGate. Now here we are ending up this hands-on session for the replication. So as a recap, in this hands-on session, we have seen the data replicated from the ATP database on-premise to the ADW database, which is hosted in the OCI cloud, and that is achieved through these two GoldenGate provisioning. One is on the on-premise side, which is the marketplace GoldenGate installation, and on one the OCI GoldenGate provisioning. And one very important part here, which we have taken care, the data is encrypted throughout of its life cycle, and that is encrypted with the OCI Vault, and that is through the Oracle managed key. And that is also can be achieved through the client managed key as per the client requirement, which is very important part in these days to encrypt and secure the data. And second, we are also use this ingest server, which will give in the SSL protection during the transformation. So this is overall hands-on session, and what we have seen here, we have covered this all part, the provisioning of the GoldenGate ATP database and different component of this, and at last we have seen how to see the encrypted data of in the trail file of the GoldenGate. So now I'm ending this entire session. Thanks for watching. If you have any question, please let us know. We are happy to help. Thank you.